Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of A Deeper Conversation with George and Deanna. Um, Today, we're going to focus on, I'm going to have George help me here, the principles.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is the second episode, and we're going to be looking at a distinction between principles, which basically describe how something works on the one hand, and then applications or strategies, which are basically how to do them, how to apply those principles. And it's a very important distinction to make in our opinion, because there are there's an enormous benefit to derive from understanding principles before um, applications. So yeah, we're going to that's basically what we're going to do today. We're going to try to compare and contrast what it means to see and understand principles and as against applications or strategies.
Right, and it's not really a how-to because there's really no right way to do this. Everybody figures out their own way of seeking and understanding and how to apply them. So we're just giving a basic understanding and hope that you can take it and make it your own as well.
Yeah, yeah, because I find that most of the time, what we see readily available, in terms of information, is more how to's. It's always 7 steps to a happier life, or this is how to do this, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's having just the strategies or just the applications without a deeper understanding of the principles behind those applications can be um, extremely limiting, because it's like you're stuck in just one direction without having a broad kind of overview, and then you're limited basically in what you can do. So that's why we intend to step back and see behind the scenes the principles that are at play, or how principles can help us have a better experience, a richer experience of of whatever it is that we're doing.
Yeah, and it's important to note that we're not giving you a formula on how you can do it. There's not steps like George said. It's not like 7 steps to a happier life. It's, you're going to take the principles and you're going to apply them in your life the way that makes the most sense to you. So it's a little different than some, self-help kind of things that are out there. Oftentimes we get these books and we read them and they're very formulaic, and this is not how that is. So that's why sometimes it might seem a little esoteric to you, but when you know, you know. um,
Yeah,
and you can't unknow it at that point. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we decided to do this in 2 parts. So today we're going to focus on kind of a general overview of the distinction between principles and applications. So for principles, I think the go-to illustration, or example for me, because of my probably because of my background in science and engineering, is the difference between physics and engineering. So um, before you can study engineering, you must have had courses in physics, probably in high school, before going on to college to study engineering proper. And there's a reason for that. It's that physics deals with the principles or the laws that govern the physical world, the physical phenomena, gravity, friction, motion, electromagnetic force, all that. They are descriptions of what's going on, you know, giving you the principles that govern all these things that affect our lives. Now, having a deeper understanding of that puts you in a very good position to be an effective engineer. So, engineering is applied science. So, it's applying the knowledge of science to solve everyday problems, to solve the problems of flight, the problems of communication, problems of mobility, moving from one place to the other, information dissemination, either via mobile phones or it's engineering is about problem solving, but it is key to understand principles because the deeper your understanding of the physics behind whatever you're doing, the more effective you will be in applying those principles.
Right.
So yeah, for instance, when the the principles behind or that describe flight or how human beings could build something that could fly, defy gravity, and fly from one point to the other. Once those principles were uncovered, then application became more straightforward. And now we have, innovative, different types of aircrafts, choppers. Everything is more or less um, everywhere now. It's so common because the principles are have been uncovered, and anyone can decide how to apply them for himself in a bid to solve whatever problems they're facing. That's in the physical realm, and there are also principles in every other aspect of our life. So our aim is to help you see that it's more beneficial to see beyond application first and understand principles before you decide how to proceed with applying them in whatever area of your life.
Yeah, I think it's very important. And something that came up for me is sort of like when you're learning a new language and there are certain rules that you learn. And then, for example, I speak Spanish and there are multiple words for love. You could say te deseo, te amo, te quiero. It all depends on what you're trying to convey. And so as you become more familiar with the language, you can apply the appropriate meaning to it. So it's another way of, structuring something. You have certain principles that you're looking at, and then you can apply them in a way that's meaningful for you. So whether it's science or language or there's so many systems in the universe that we could point to that give the same kind of experience. It's just how you decide to apply them in your own way and best works for you and what you create because there's limitless possibilities.
Yeah, true. So so far we've been, pointing to general principles. Now there are also principles that govern how our minds work, how every human being creates his or her experience of life. These are universal principles that are invisible, they're intangible, but we see the effects, just like gravity is invisible, but we understand gravity as a principle, and it informs the way we engage with the world or the kinds of things that we do. We have to take that into consideration when we are engaging with the physical world in order to have a good experience of life, basically. So we're going to be I think this will come, more of it will come now in the second part. Like I said, this is a two-part series. So in the second part of this conversation, uh, principles versus application or strategy, we're going to now look at the principles that govern how the human experience is created and what that means, what understanding that could mean to you and I, and how we um, live our lives.
Right, and then those understandings are unique to every individual, and we want to point out that, the way that you take them and apply them is going to be different from the way George applies them or the way I apply them, and that's perfectly okay. There's no wrong way to do this. It's just what means the most, or what is most meaningful to you.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So, are we? Do we wrap it up and continue from the next episode? Right?
I think it's a good time to wrap up, and next time we will talk about more about application and pointing to the universal principles. And we look forward to having you join us on this ongoing conversation, and hope that you will give us feedback where you need it, because
Yeah,
we would love to hear from you and to learn from you as well, because we are both students of this and students of life as well in the human experience. Thank you.
absolutely. And please subscribe to the channel and drop your comments, whatever has resonated with you so far, and whatever you like us to talk about or you like to hear more about. Just subscribe, drop your comments, and we'll be sure to engage with you. We want it to be as interactive as possible, and yeah, see what comes from it.
Yeah, and if there's something you need clarification on, let us know and we'll be happy to provide it in a future episode. So
Absolutely.
thank you very much for listening, and we look forward to continuing our deeper conversation next week.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.